Hey guys, welcome back to the Crafty Couple. Today we've got some really fun fall boho DIYs that will be perfect for this fall season. I absolutely loved how these turned out. And as we're getting back on track with our videos, we wanted to let you guys know that we did start a second channel. It's called DIY 4 Less with the number 4. And this is going to feature content that doesn't quite make it to this channel or side projects that we've been working on. And it will be a lot more simple. We wanted to keep the format of this channel just how it is, but on the other one, we will have shorter videos with just music playing in the background. So make sure to jump over. We'll leave a link for that right here. And as always, guys, we hope you enjoy today's video. Make sure to let us know in the comments which project's your favorite. For our first project, we're going to be doing these pumpkins, and I saw these pumpkins on Pinterest and knew I had to recreate them using Dollar Tree products. I think they are absolutely perfect for fall boho decor. So grab a few of these pumpkins from Dollar Tree, and I'm using white Waverly chalk paint, mineral, and then this moss one that I just started with, all from Waverly that you can pick up from Walmart. So I started with the moss chalk paint, and then second one right here that I'm doing is mineral, and then this bigger one that I'm going to do right here, I'm going to use the white Waverly chalk paint. When painting these pumpkins, especially this bigger one, it might be okay on the smaller ones, but I've seen horror stories of people spray painting these and they just kind of start disintegrating. It has a weird reaction with the foam, so I would avoid that and use like chalk or acrylic paint if you're going to do this. To paint the designs on our pumpkins, I'm actually just using this white chalk marker. We'll leave a link for that in the description below. You can pick it up on Amazon, or I believe Dollar Tree even has some of these in different colors that you could use. And to start on this green one, what I'm going to do is go in all of these creases and just draw a line straight down all the way to the bottom. While I was drawing these lines, I found kind of the easiest way that worked for me to get a somewhat straight line was to start drawing it and then twist the pumpkin around as I'm drawing it. So you're almost leaving the pen in place and then just moving the pumpkin itself around it. The next part on this green pumpkin is we're just going to start drawing these lines, and you want to kind of angle them down, not too much. I gave it just a little bit of an angle down so they're not completely horizontal. And then once we have one row, we're going to go on to the next row and we're going to do the opposite. So if this one's going down, we'll move on to the next one and we'll slightly draw them going up. So as you can see, as we get more rows here completed, you can see that every other one switches. So one will slightly go down, the next one up, and then down and up. And you'll just complete that pattern until you've gone all the way around the pumpkin. For the mineral pumpkin, we're going to use the same white chalk marker to create the design on this one. So what we want to do is start here towards the top and just draw a little diamond shape, and then we're going to put a dot at the top and the bottom of that. And we're going to do that all the way around the top of the pumpkin. When you're doing this first design, you want to make sure that you're doing it on the part of the pumpkin that bulges out instead of where the crease is. And then what we'll do is go into the crease here and we'll draw a line going down about halfway, and we'll do that on each crease of the pumpkin all the way around. Once we have all of our lines drawn, what we want to do is connect them. So we're going to draw a diagonal line to the middle of where the pumpkin bulges, and then another diagonal line connecting that. So hopefully that makes sense and you can kind of see it visually to understand what I'm saying. Once we've gone around and made all of our diagonal lines connecting those vertical lines, we can complete this pumpkin by finishing with another line going all the way down, and this one will actually be on the outer part of the pumpkin, kind of where it bulges out. For the last pumpkin, since we have more room, we're going to create a more intricate design and add quite a bit more to it. So this one was probably my favorite to do, just since we're able to do more of a design on it. And what we're going to do is start by creating these V's all the way along the top of this. And then after we've completed our first row, we're basically going to do the same thing below that, just with an upside down V. And then we're going to do that all the way around once again. Once we have all of the V's completed, we're going to create like a cross in this empty space by doing these dots. So I did 3 dots down and then the 2 dots on the outer side, as you can see here. And then you're going to want to do that in each space all the way around the pumpkin. The next step is to draw 3 lines, and then we're going to basically do the same thing except for we're doing dots. So 3 solid lines going down and then 3 dots going down as well. For the next row, we're going to draw the horizontal line, and then we're going to go down, draw another horizontal line, and then we're going to go up. And just repeat that pattern all the way around. For the next row, we're going to create these arrows or sideways V's, and just draw the angled lines like I'm doing here. Now, none of this is really hard. It's just time consuming and intricate, but the end result is definitely worth it. I think these turned out amazing. And finally, to finish this off, we're just going to do these dots in between each of those arrows that we did. And to complete these projects, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these stems and I'm going to spray paint them gold using this Rust-Oleum paint, the spray paint. Now, be very careful with this foam one because, like I said, it can eat away at that a little bit. So I would not recommend spray painting your whole pumpkin. However, I think you can get away with it just spray painting that top part. And I'll show you a little bit what I mean here in just 1 second. Once we have the gold stems, we can go ahead and just put them back in very easily. And then here on the last one, kind of what I was talking about, if you look closely, you can see that it's kind of bubbled, almost looks like it's eaten away a little bit. But what I found is if you just take like your fingernail or something flat and you just rub along the surface there, it'll actually smooth it out a little bit and it'll look a lot nicer. But again, please, I would not do this on the pumpkin itself because I think that it would just look really bad.
For this project, we are going to start out with a 14-inch gold hoop. I got this one, I think, from Joann's. You can use one from Walmart. I know they're a lot cheaper there. Or you can use one of the 3D wreath forms from Dollar Tree. I know it's already gold, but I didn't really like the shade of gold, so I just went over it with this metallic gold from Rust-Oleum. This is what it looks like after it was spray painted. I know it's hard to tell on camera, but it is a lot softer gold instead of very harsh. And then I grabbed one of these hula skirts from Dollar Tree, and that's what we'll be using as the bottom for this decor piece. When I pulled the skirt out, I was thinking it was one of the ones that is stretchy, that goes all the way around. It is not, and it is one of the ones that just ties around, so don't just cut it wherever. You should just kind of measure about 1/3 of a way around the hoop and then cut it. Luckily, mine ended up being about that long. It's going to go on the hoop like this, and then the 2 ends you will just tie in little knots. We'll be covering them with flowers so you won't see them anyways. Now that those ends are tied, I just started hot gluing it on. If I was to do this again, I would add this with zip ties instead. I do think it would hold just a little bit better because when you add the flowers, it does add just a little bit more weight. I did add enough hot glue where it did hold just fine, and it still is holding just fine, but I do think just for sustainability, it will be better to add zip ties instead. I had this whole bouquet on hand from last year that I was meaning to use for fall. I got it from Walmart from $3 to $5. You can use any flowers from Dollar Tree. You can get a coupon for Michael's or Hobby Lobby. You can really use any type of flower for this decor. This is just what I had on hand. And then you would just grab some wire cutters and cut the stems. To attach them, you will want to cut right at the very end so that they will lay flat. Then just use hot glue and put them directly on where the hoop curves. Let me know in the comments below where you guys like to get your flowers from, if it's from like Michael's or Hobby Lobby or anything like that. We do really like the dollar store flowers, but when they're $1 a piece, we tend to go for like Walmart when they're around the same price, but they are quite a bit better quality. This would also be so cute in any little girl's nursery. I was blessed with 3 little boys, so I never had that opportunity to have a little girl nursery, but this would look so adorable in a very neutral based girl bedroom.
For our last project, we're going to be doing this boho wall hanger, and we're going to use one of these Dollar Tree plunger handles, and I'm using this Black & Decker jigsaw to go ahead and cut the end off so that we don't have those threads. It's a very easy tool to use and very cheap, so if you're looking to cut some of these small wood pieces, I would definitely pick one of these up. You can grab it on Amazon or even like your local hardware store, and then go ahead and sand that end just to clean it up a little bit better and make it smoother. For the leaves on this project, I'm using a pack. I believe it came in a pack of 50 from Dollar Tree, and just make sure that they look good. Some of them I noticed the ends of the leaves were kind of chopped off, so just make sure they look clean. I'm using this satin brick from Krylon and this gold spray paint from Rust-Oleum, and we're gonna paint 3 of them with the satin brick and 3 of them with gold. And to make it a little bit easier so they're not flying around while you're trying to spray paint them, I just put a little bit of tape on the bottom side so I could tape it down to the surface. While we're letting those dry, I also am going to be using some of these wood leaves, also from Dollar Tree, and we're using the early American stain on these. So you'll need 3 of these, and these will go at the bottom of our project. To hang this piece, we're just going to use some jute twine. You can pick it up at like Walmart or Dollar Tree, and it's fairly cheap. And what we want to do here is go ahead and tie it on one end and then just cut off the excess twine. And then I didn't do any exact measurements with this. You can have it hang lower if you want, or if you don't want it to hang as much, then kind of adjust that. But as you can see here in a second, you really can just kind of eyeball it and see where you want it. So there's no exact measurements needed. Just pull it up right here so it's tight, and then you can get an idea of where you need to tie it off on the other end. Once we have the top part complete, we can move on to the hanging strands, and I'm going to be using these beads that I got from Amazon. We'll have a link for that. Amazon, I think, is a perfect place to get wood beads because you can get a ton of them for a really great price, and they usually come in different sizes, so you can get these smaller ones and bigger ones. Use them for projects like this, and then also if you're wanting to do like a bead garland that would look really pretty, especially for these fall pieces. And then what we're gonna do is start with some twine. Again, you don't necessarily have to measure these out, just cut one that's long enough to fit the beads and the leaves. Once we have our strand tied on, I put my beads on first. So take your wood beads, slide all 3 of them on, and then we can adjust them to where they need to go in just a minute. And then once we have the beads in place, we can move on to placing the leaves. Like all of our projects, we want to hopefully give you guys inspiration, and so if you want to do this a little bit differently, please do so. If you like the gold and that satin brick color, I think it looked perfect, and this is what we decided to go with. But we always want you to kind of add your own creative touch when doing these projects. And to kind of start completing this row, what I did was put a little dab of hot glue to hold the beads in place. And then we're going to glue each of the leaves in place as well. And then to make sure that you're placing these in the right areas, I wanted to keep my string a little bit tighter. And so I just had a candle sitting on the table next to me, so I use that. But anything that's got a little bit of a weight to it, you can place on the end of the twine to keep it tight and straight, so you can get a better idea of where these are going to sit on that string. And then again, just using some hot glue. We like to use the hot glue that we get from Dollar Tree. We have had no issues with it at all, so hopefully that works for you guys as well. And then here at the bottom, like I said, we're going to add the actual wood leaves. So go ahead and glue that, starting with the stem of the leaf, and then glue it down maybe halfway onto that. And then this is why I said you didn't need an exact measurement for the twine itself, because we can just cut off the excess. For the second strand, again, what I would recommend doing is pulling your twine so it is tight. That way you can get a better idea how these are going to hang. And then put your beads on and try to line them up as good as you can with the other beads. And then we're going to do the same thing with the leaves. And I started with the two outside sections since they're going to be the exact same. And then here in a minute, we will create the middle section that's going to actually hang a little bit lower than these two. And once we have these two outer parts complete, we can go ahead and slide them towards the end, and then just slide them right up next to where the other string is that we're going to hang this on. Now that those are complete, we can move on to the last section. So what you want to do is for the beads and the first two leaves, you want to make them all the exact same, but it's this last wooden leaf that we want to actually glue a little bit lower than the other two. After we glue on the final piece, this project will be complete and we can trim off the extra twine. And again, guys, I absolutely love these projects. They were a ton of fun to make, and I think they're perfect for that boho fall vibe. Let us know in the comments if you guys would have done anything a little bit differently, but we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. As always, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you can be notified every time we upload a new video.